What is up, my tender tulips? On today's episode, we're going to start with a children's story, so make sure you're all comfortable, tucked up in bed, got a drink, whatever you need. Today's story is called How Technology F***ed Me. So let's dive straight in. Once upon a time, my Xbox app stopped working, and I lost my save for this game, and it was really annoying, and I had to restart the game, and I've gone straight back through it again, the end. Lost the save, had to redo the entire game from scratch. Took me, admittedly, less than it did when I was recording, but we're caught back up to where we were before. So, without further ado, let's jump straight back into the game, I guess.
Seamless transition.
Right, so far we have seen Molly turned into a cat and monster and ate herself. Barbara was killed by monsters and left behind an ear. Calvin flew over trees. Sam was killed by Bambi. Walter lived underground for ages and was hit by a train. Odin drowned in a house he made into a boat. Gregory drowned in the bath. Gus was blown away in a storm. Edith is me and I'm Prego. Milton painted a door and disappeared. So, let's crack on. Remember...
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
Oh no, wait. Technically, we've seen this bit. Let's crack on.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want to get it out.
Through the second time did not make no running any less annoying. So, go here, and this is all new territory for me now. Mom, yeah.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Everyone always told him to stay out of Lewis's room. Except Lewis.
Okay, so he was a stoner, judging by the sheesh right there. Yeah. Oh, maybe I can't. Stairway to no way. He had a boat in his room. That is kind of cool. And electricity draining lights. No one. Wait, why are the lights even on in this house if no one's been here for years? Finches don't care about the environment.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar.
Herbal?
That part of him lived on.
Oh, that's like a... Oh, wait. That's like a combination of about 3 different controllers, but mostly the shape of it looks like the old SNES or NES controller. It's a Wonderland Turbo.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Okay. Baseball, good for posture. Here we go.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation.
Crazy.
As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse.
Oh my.
Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life.
Ah.
He kept working at the cannery, but
Nice.
he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior.
Off
mind
with his
began
head. And to what?
Wander.
Ah, this is cool. Like a top-down RPG.
I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth.
Got to do 2 things at once. This is crazy. Society says men can't
Feel
multitask.
his way about.
Look at me now, society. I'm
something moved.
triple tasking. I'm
Bats.
walking and cutting heads off
And
fish
toads.
and running a labyrinth. Ooh. Ooh.
And things that have not names.
Kind of. Oh no.
He knew it was all in his head. He took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself.
Ooh.
But he found something more.
I would play this game. Now it's 3D.
I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him.
Uh-oh.
It seemed very promising at first.
No.
He told me he'd made a new friend.
If a dog turns up in this game and I cut its head off, I'm done. I
On
can't
the
do
edge
it.
of a city he named Lewis Token. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play.
Cool. Every little
Talked about
story,
starting a band.
there's something new, and I love it.
And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger.
Ah! Fish!
He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever.
I mean, substance
And one day
abuse
it
makes
struck
cool
him.
RPGs in my head.
That all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor,
You're gonna like die in the game and then die in real life.
and he won.
Hey, it's like Mario. If you
They
die
begged
in
him
the
to stay,
game,
but his mind was
you die
already
for
on.
real.
It became a game for him.
I mean, this is a game for me
He'd
too.
conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville.
Waste.
St. Louis.
Eh.
He started drifting away from our reality.
That's cool. That's a problem thus far.
Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go
Clever.
home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on.
Sorry, Mum. I have new priorities now.
In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a
Oh, I like this. Get a
handsome
choice.
queen.
I like it. Wasn't beautiful queen or handsome prince.
The queen was on her own quest for
Sinister serpents. Because it sounds like a euphemism.
sinister serpents.
Let her have a go on my sinister serpent. You know what I mean?
He followed the sound of her
Electric sitar. I like that.
electric sitar.
Play it, girl. No.
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon.
Surprised he told this all to his
Even
psychiatrist.
then, his logic remained sound.
What's up, girl?
He knew the world was all in his imagination.
Get your fine ass back here. Just stop playing.
But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
Ooh. Look at all these big, strong boys. Hi.
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think
Good
it was
Lord.
overwhelming.
Pet.
And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace.
Girl, stop playing hard to get. Come
My
back here.
imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Oh, back at the cannery. Where's the crown? You drink your queen. Oh.
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
Is Lewis in front of me? And who am I?
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
Did he kill himself?
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder.
Uh-oh.
The palace would be packed with his companions.
Hey guys. Thanks for coming. Whoa, Jeff looking good. Hey, you here. Steve.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him.
I really want the queen to turn around and she has like the face of a fish. That would complete this, but I don't think she will. She'll be faceless, like all of these fellas. Hey man, this one? I hate you.
His queen waited, holding his crown.
Crown ain't the only thing she'll be holding. A yuck yuck.
There was only one thing left to do.
Take my crown. Come on, come on.
Bend down his head.
This is a trap.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
He seems like an idiot. In your box. Gallery. Action figure. Crack pipe. You know, these. Let's move on to the next unlucky family member.
On the way
Just
back
keep-
from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie.
Oh.
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish
Packing.
we'd stayed.
Packing peanuts.
but I understand why we left.
Is everyone crazy?
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Yeah. Disaster relief, Sanjay. Aw, that's my daddy.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
Is this my room or my mum's? Oh, I've been to my mum's room, I think.
But it had to end one way or another.
Yes, it's my
All
room.
that's left now was to tell you about that last night.
It's a feather.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word.
You, the grandmother.
Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
Hey,
to
Joel.
our final night together, and all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Ah.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles.
Oh.
When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
So if all the power's out, why was it back on when I came to this?
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Ooh.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born.
Oh, don't make me crawl out of my mum.
That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it.
Is her grandma disappears?
When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around.
I bet this is fun for you viewers to watch.
wondered.
Just grey.
I started seeing things.
Ooh. Why does it sound like he's running on tarmac when this is very clearly wet sand?
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed.
Like what?
But when I saw them, they
And-
felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them.
Maybe so, Grandma Finch.
Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
Oh.
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go.
I hate you,
I
Mom.
scream, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great Grandma Edie again.
Oh, great grandma. Ah.
The next morning, the band came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it.
What? Oh. What? Best gameplay in years.
A few years went by.
Just doing that for a few years. Made of letters.
My mom didn't like to talk about it.
Dyslexic's
But
nightmare.
she started getting sick a lot. The
Uh,
rest happened pretty quickly.
oh, fun.
She got
no.
better for a while.
Nope. 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 Alright, drama queen.
And then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive.
And the body of your brother. Milton might be out there.
Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you.
This is the baby swimming out of...
But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you
Okay.
and tell you all these stories myself.
Being born!
But I guess if you're reading this now,
Very advanced.
things didn't
details.
work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Oh. She died too. She died. Was it natural causes? Or... I don't know. Was she eaten by her own shame? Family's weird. That is a cool house, and I stand by that. Shirley Dallas. Ah. Don't know the story behind that, but that's sweet regard. Ian Dallas, Joshua Sutty, Ash, Sinowitz. Right. Gonna disappear for a minute. Game Boy. this was a really fun game. Well, I don't know if you can call it a game. It was a really interesting story. I enjoyed finding out about the family and how they all... it sounds morbid, but finding out how they all perished. You can fast forward this bit if you like. I won't take offense. Just fast forward it, or skip. Or end the video if you want. No, don't do that. You got a big mouth. And Esposito. Who gives a kid a gun? I'm watching it as fast as I can. Trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. Okay. Well, I guess that's it then. I found out all about the family. But that big space seems to be a waste. Oh, and there's Edie. Okay. No, that was cool. Thank you for joining me on the journey. I actually quite enjoyed the game, even if I had to replay 2/3 of it to get back to where we were. I don't know what I'm going to be playing next, but I'm sure you'll find out soon enough. So, thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe. And until next time, see ya.